Hey, so it is recording day. I am getting ready to go inside. This episode is special to me, so I did a little more than a beat. And I'm excited for it. This is the second episode for the Father's Day edition, which is a month long. Here we go. Stay tuned.
You look nice.
You look nice.
I went home to match the same shirt I got.
No.
Zoom in, no, yeah. I don't have to think out here to do it anymore.
You don't?
Your capture card don't.
Just see something real quick. It's recording though, right? Hey, welcome to another episode, Sulkin podcast. I am your host, Miss Tasha Talks Life. I am your favorite mindset, accountability life coach. I help guide you to your dream life faster by making simple, actionable tweaks to your mind, body, and goals. If you are new here, what's up? So this episode, I'm super excited. If you caught the last episode, I talked about how I am honoring dads that are in my life this month in honor of Father's Day. So today's episode, I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm excited. I would like to introduce to the show my husband, Madi, aka AJ, is going to talk about how to balance the different dynamics of fathering in a blended family.
Hello, what's up, everyone?
Hey. You look good.
Thank you. You look good too.
Thank you.
What's going on?
Nothing much. So just before we get into it, I just want to say we had a podcast ourselves. What year was that? I want to say maybe 2017. And 2017. And it was a huge hit. I think we had 2 or 3 episodes. And just our scheduling and timing, we just couldn't keep up with it. So I am happy to be sitting beside you once again.
Hey, well, you took the reins and you ran with it, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations to you on your successful podcast.
Thank you.
And your business endeavors.
Thank you. Well, today is about you.
Copy.
And honoring dads. And so I specifically, each episode I start with a quote. And I found a quote that spoke directly to me and to our situation. It says, I couldn't do this parenting thing without you. Thank you for being my partner in crime in this eternal job we have received after birthing these kids. Happy Father's Day, unknown. So basically, I'm going to say this, I really couldn't do this without you. As a boy mom, I definitely need that masculine muscle every now and then.
Open up a can or something?
Just the reinforce. I don't know. It's something different. Even with Mason, he's the baby. Mason is he'll come with the smoosh and the warming me up or buttering me up or whatever. And then there's times when I'm just get him. Can you get him, please? Because so I do appreciate you. And as a single mom at one point, you came into my life and my son's life as he was 7 years old. He's now 22. So we're also going to talk about what that is like, being a stepdad, right. And how navigating that in a blended family, because it's different and it has different challenges, but we're going to get into our own thing. Okay, cool. So you ready? So I have some questions for you.
Okay.
So the first question I have is, what is one word to describe fatherhood?
One word to describe fatherhood, challenging, right? Challenging. I mean, I think about parenthood, childhood, the other words, and then so fatherhood. The one word I would have to say is definitely challenging, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I remember because when we was pregnant with Messiah, and I laughed because obviously you had never raised a baby, right? When you came into Jay's life, he was 7, and so when you came in, I admired and then was scared at the same time of your confidence. It was like, and I remember like thinking, or I might even said it back then, like this is new for you, like this is, I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to tell you, and you're like, I got it. And I'm like, but I do, I did, if I didn't say it then, I did admire that you were like willing to like jump right in. It wasn't like, because I had mentioned on the last podcast that there's a theory or a stigma around black dads, and they're trying to make it seem like black dads are not as active, when in actuality black dads are more active whether they're in the house or not than white and Spanish dads, and that's statistics. So
It's a false narrative.
Yeah, it is. And I think the movies and media gives that portrayal, right? And so but yeah, challenging is definitely
anything to keep the black man down. Say he's not a good father. Say he's a drug dealer. Say he's a hoodlum, whatever.
Right.
But they won't call us CEOs. They won't call us billionaires. They won't call us that because they want to keep us down.
For sure. And again, if that's all if you haven't experienced that for yourself in these states that are like predominantly, then that's what you believe, right? But for me, I've only been around, like, even if I think about as a child, my dad, there was a time period my dad wasn't there, my mom and my dad, but just fast forward when he came back, I was in 9th grade. Then my brother, being a military husband, raising his kids, then seeing my cousin Trevor, rest in peace, when he was young and a brand new dad, going into the bathroom and needing a changing table, and seeing you and all of these male figures in my church that are hands-on with their kids. It's always been like,
right.
So to see it in the movies, it kind of gives me like but knowing that, and I think even more so now, it's even changing even more,
And then, so I think, just to hit back on the father thing, something that just sat in with me. I think when I was saying that it's challenging, it's something about why it was so hands on for me is because I never shied away from the challenge, but with the challenge, with defeating any challenge comes practice. So you gotta get in there, and those experiences you gotta go through in order to really, say that you actually were. I don't like the father word. You know how I feel about. I created a podcast called No Deadbeats, Just Dads, because I believe dad is the actual, your kids
for sure
call you dad. They don't walk around necessarily calling you father.
Yeah.
Unless they're joking, right? So most of you hear somebody screaming, dad, or that's my dad, or my dad does this and my dad does that. So maybe in dadhood, they don't have nice ring.
I mean, you could do whatever you want. And just to touch on No Deadbeats, Just Dads, right? Last year, you did this extravaganza. Like this, and it was like literally a one-man show, right? We had food trucks, you had, a live taping with your dad, my dad, your stepdad, my dad. You had activities, there was a barber, there was tug of war, like all of these things, and it was so amazing to see all the dads out there and the kids and the moms, but we have food and stuff. Even at that time we were co-parenting, right? But to be there and to still support you, and that's one thing I'm gonna say. I went through a moment where we were going through challenges, big challenges, right? But one thing I can say is that we always were effective co-parents. Like, we definitely leaned on each other when it came to the kids. And I think that was super intentional of us, knowing that no matter what happens or where we are, whatever, our kids are a priority.
Right.
And them even knowing that and feeling that and understanding that. So kudos to you too, because I've been in situations where it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what, it was drama and all that other stuff. But I mean, we're different though. But
No doubt.
so when I think about dads, right? And I think about, and sometimes it could go two ways. It could be, I'm this type of dad because my dad was this type of way. I'm this type of dad because my dad was not this type of way. And that goes with a lot of things, right? Just upbringing in general, right? So I just want to highlight a moment. I want you to share one of your fondest memories as a child with your own father.
As a child, wow. So, I guess one of the dynamics of what what was installed in me, to try to be a good dad, the best dad I can be, is that I didn't grow up with my biological father. I had a stepfather that I met the same time I met Jalen, which is 7 years old, and so from 7 to I think it was 17 was the time period that he was like kind of out of my life. So I have more memories of that after that 17 and after, than I do when I was younger. As I'm speaking, I'm trying to think of something that I can remember. So yeah, I do. It came to me. He was a bus driver in the city, and I can recall back then we had paper transfers. There was different colors, blue and I think red, and he drove a bus that took people from, and it's funny now because it's such a small thing, but as a kid to hear that I drive a bus that takes people from Manhattan to the Bronx across the bridge was like, oh, that's a big thing. And I remember riding across the bus with him. I used to get sit in that front seat. So as soon as you come up the steps, is that first seat. And so I can remember being on ride with him a couple of times and riding in that front seat and seeing people with the transfers and all that stuff. So that as a child, that was probably one of my fondest memories.
And looking out the window and doing all this thing.
You know what it was that used to get me? So as you cross over the bus, on the other there was a white line, and it seemed like that white line was like the forbidden zone. Like you cross over that white line, for some reason you're gonna fly through this window. Like anything after this white line, you're safe. But if you cross over, and he never said that to me. That was just my own thinking. Like, and so they used to have. I'm dating. You probably because you're from Long Island, so you don't know.
I've been on the bus a couple of times.
Not back then. Not back
yes,
then.
I did.
No, I'm talking. I was a kid.
Oh no, probably like 15.
No, so I'm talking about when I was a kid.
Okay.
They used to have a sign up the top, and I think it said "Stand behind the white line."
Okay.
So that was the white line. Anybody that's from the city, I remember the buses. They had the white line. Everybody stayed behind the white line.
Okay, that's a nice memory. So speaking of that, right, and raising your own children, right, what is one thing you want them to have learned from you? Like what, because I know I hear you say all the time to them, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be better than me. But what is something that you want them to have learned from you?
And this is something that I'm going through now as a man, right? Because they're boys and young boys, they're gonna become one, definitely being authentic with yourself, in all aspects, right? Being authentic with yourself, even knowing that may lead people to not like you.
Yeah.
Because most people that's not gonna like you are the people that's not authentic, in that state, So I would want them to learn I would want them to see struggles that I went through mentally, and even physically, like working out. Just give them a great example of what a man should look like, and then what a father should look like. So they get countless love from me. I don't have no problem kissing all my boys, hugging them. Never turn down a hug from Mason if it's the 500 hug for the day. So he's always gonna get a hug. So those things, and just seeing how, as of lately, seeing how versatile that they should be, right? So being able to get your hands dirty and keep your hands clean, right?
Yeah.
And not limiting yourself to what you can learn and be able to do. So.
Yeah, I love that for them. because if we think back to when we were kids, even if I think about myself, just not much affection, not even seeing a lot of affection, and that's different households or whatever, right? But I think it's so important. Like you said, I would never like not kiss them or hug them, and I think for a father or father figure to embrace a young male in that way is so needed, because it's been so much of, and it's therapeutic for the man, because as a child he was most likely not given that same affection, and also told boys don't cry,
Right.
and toughen up and man up, and there's so much trauma behind that, that I do believe wholeheartedly that is also being reversed. And that's why, for me, when someone, I do hear a male or anyone telling my kids not to cry, it frustrates me.
Yeah.
It makes me upset, because I'm like, and I will address it like
Right.
this is my kids, because emotions there's so many different types of emotions, and if you want them to be happy, they should be able to be sad. No, we're not raising crybabies,
Right.
but it's okay for your feelings
Right.
to be hurt.
Correct.
And for you to show that emotion.
So the question is, or the thing is, stop crying, but why are you crying? What's wrong with you, right? And so nobody's
Or what
just
happened to
gonna,
you.
or what happened to you, right? Most people, I don't know what that condition is that people can just cry on contact like that, right? But most people are not just gonna cry for no reason. Something happened, right? So, the whole don't cry or stop crying, so good, that doesn't live in our household, right?
No, and we like to get to the bottom
That's what I'm
of
saying. What's
like
the
you
problem?
said, what happened to you,
Right.
and I have to correct myself, because a lot of times I do say what's wrong with you, and that's not the right wording, right? What's wrong with you implicates there's something that I did, or there's something that
Something
that's
that
wrong
happened.
to me.
Okay.
Instead of saying what happened to you, it could be I hurt myself, somebody offended me, so it's just a wordplay, and I
As
think
long as a negative word.
yeah,
Right.
and then it's self-inflicted. It makes it feels like it's me, when in actuality. So, yeah, no, I love that. I love that. I keep going back to when I remember you being when we first had Messiah, right? I keep going back to that, because there's two moments that sticks out to me the most, and the first one is the moment with the Vaseline. I think that every single parent can relate to either Vaseline, powder. What was the other thing? It was Vaseline and powder. Every parent. Let me know in the comments if you have a child and your child got into the Vaseline or the powder. So, so I don't know where I was. I'm coming home, and Messiah is the middle child. He's our first, but he's the middle child, and he was a climber. Like, he's gonna climb out of
Everywhere.
the crib, climb out of stuff, climb on stuff, whatever, fearless. And so I come downstairs. He's in the shower. I come downstairs, and Messiah is sitting on the changing table part of the crib with the Vaseline in between his lap, and Vaseline everywhere, all over his head. And he just looked, and I got a picture of it. But I remember, because when Jay did it years ago, it was powder, and it was just me. I remember saying, clean him up, because that's your job. And he was like, 2 seconds. He was sleeping, whatever. But that's one memory that I think is always going to stick with me. And the moment, the time when you put him in the backpack, the baby carrying thing, and took him on a bike.
Oh yeah, I used to take him on a ride all the time. He was mad. He was
Oh,
all
my
nervous.
God. He wasn't even 1 yet.
He wasn't.
And
That was
I'm
my
thinking,
thing.
new dad,
Right.
new baby, on a bike, on this little
Yeah.
back carrying thing.
It was actually the frontal one,
and you put it on the back?
and I just wrapped that joint around the back, and it was good money.
I didn't know that.
What was it?
We did have a frontal one
I think
too,
it was a
but I
frontal
think it
one that
was.
might have-
This one was a little more sturdy though.
So it might have been.
So
Somebody
I don't
might
know.
have gave me a back
It doesn't
crack.
matter. It was very.
We
He's
was-
like, oh, it could be nothing. No helmets, no nothing.
I actually got a picture. I just showed him the picture of that not too long ago.
Oh, if you can send it to me, I'll
Definitely.
insert it in
He
here.
had a hat on.
I will insert it in here if you send it to me, because y'all need to see. And it makes Messiah's looking. He was so young that he's looking like he don't even know what's going on.
No, but he was smiling. I gotta find a picture.
I'm gonna put that in the clip. But yeah. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to a new dad?
If you're gonna do something like that, get out the house before you. No, I'm joking. Just exercise patience, right? Understand that it's gonna be new, right? It's gonna be challenging, like I said, and I would just, you gotta have love. You gotta have love, because you brought this individual into the world, and it's your job now to raise them and kind of guide them and being the best human being that they can be. Yeah. So it pulls things out of you that. So I always just say, like, having kids should make you better, right? One, it should make you better because now you have to care for somebody else other than yourself, like unconditionally. So if that doesn't make you better, then I don't know, you got issues. But it also should put in some cases some kind of, I don't want to use the word discipline because I like discipline crazy right now, so I can't. But it should make you start to look at certain things that's more important in life, right? Other than being out clubbing and being out, just doing things that, that's time that you could be spending with the kid and making those memories and creating those experiences. So be patient, love as much as you can, understand it's going to be, the one thing that I worry about now as a kid, as a father, is the boys doing something to like really upset me, and how.
What do you think that could be?
Well, Messiah's in 4th grade already, so I hadn't beat, because I remember in 3rd grade I pulled the fire alarm in school and got in trouble. So,
But you think that would make you really angry?
Yes, because it's definitely something that they know they definitely should not be doing. Just like I knew I shouldn't be doing, but I had that peer pressure get a hold of me at that time, and so that's my thing, is I know that they're not perfect and that they're gonna make some mistakes. I'm just setting myself, like, you know what I'm saying, getting my.
But honestly, the first one kind of prepared us.
Who was Jalen?
Yes.
Yeah.
And not to compare or nothing, but I that for me, he was the trial baby, right? Like first time mom. So going through a lot of that stuff was, so I always joke and I say, like, you two, I'm ready. I'm ready. Which you're really never ready, because because they're all different and all kids are different.
Times change.
Yeah, and times has changed. I do think about that because they are such good boys, and I'm so grateful. God is so good because they are good boys. Yeah. But I do see the growth, meaning how they are maturing and how they are speaking and like the slang that they're saying. Right. I'm just waiting for a second for them to call me bro, and it's gonna be like, because Jay already, I will chop him right in the throat. But no, I think that part just like, but I try not to predict. For me, I think I just want to hold on to them. So I want to just nurture these times so much, because they're going to be taller than me soon, right? And they're going to be thinking they're already thinking about girls, but like, so I try, and I think that's where as a mom, it may be different for you as a dad, but for me, that's where my biggest like struggle is just like letting them know that they're going to grow up and know, I need a puppy. You give me a puppy. I need a baby, because I'm like, oh my God, they're getting so big. Mason, I think, is going to let me love on him for a very long time. I don't know how long, but he's going to let me love him for a long time. Definitely. But one thing I want to just ask you, because I can't speak to it, and just being a stepdad, like coming into a relationship, and that person having a son, and to back up just a little bit, when we met, we were friends first, and then we dated for a little bit before meeting Jay, and I knew like that you were somebody that I wanted to be with and that I could introduce my son to. Like, he can't even say that, he's met like other guys and stuff like that, right? So with you coming in, and I know it can't be easy because there's a lot, like, and I always gave you full range, right? But where do you feel, or how did you navigate, or what are your thoughts, or what could you say to being a stepdad to someone who their father is there? It's not like he's deceased or in Florida or something like that, and navigating that, and in what way did I support you with that or not?
I think my childhood actually kind of set me up for that relationship, because, like I said earlier, I was 7 when I met my stepfather, and so I can remember the feelings of you're not my dad, like feeling like that, never saying it to him. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, you're not my dad. Don't, you know what I'm saying? This and that. And so I can sit here and stay, and I've spoken to Jay about this, that he's never felt like that before with me. You know what I'm saying? Even
He's never said it to me.
You know what I mean? Even in the times when I had to discipline him or whatever the case may be, is I kind of knew, like you said, that line. I because I was him. You know what I mean? I was 7. I grew up with a stepfather.
Yeah.
So that kind of really prepared me to just establish that relationship that we had growing up, to where, I mean, even times when I took a step back, because he had multiple male figures in his life. His father would come in. His grandfather was always there, and then so these inputs at times may have had more range than my input, which is fine. You see what I'm saying? But to date now, I would say that we have probably one of the strongest relationships. I mean, outside his grandfather, right? But me and him have a great father and son relationship now, and it's never been that adversity. It's never, if I call Jay and I need him, he's gonna be there, right? If he asks me for something and I can do it for him, we get it done. So definitely, me growing up with a stepfather kind of already prepared me for knowing how to handle him in that situation. And as far as support, I think when you knew that I was I guess a good role model for him, we never had to worry about. I never had to worry about you saying to me, you coming at him too strong, or don't talk to my son like that, or any of those. You know what I mean? Any of those things, because it never got to that.
No, I remember he was 14, maybe 14 or 15, and he must have just got himself a little taste of something, or was ready to. There was a party, and everybody was going to the party. And I don't know if you were in the house at that moment, but he was saying he wanted to go to the party, and he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And that's one thing I stuck to, like, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're not doing it. And I told him no. He was furious because his cousins were all going, everybody was going, so this must have been a party where the girl was going to be at. I don't know. So he's walking through the house mumbling, like walking by me. This house is big, y'all. This house was huge. This is the on John Street. And he's like, I'm going out, and da-da-da-da, and I'm just going to leave. And I'm just ignoring him, to the point where, at this point now, he goes and, like, walks to the door, because he then prepped himself up. This might have been like a good 10 minutes. I'm ignoring him. And then he preps himself up. He goes, I'm like, where do you think you're going? I'm going to the party. Everybody else is going, da-da-da-da-da. So I'm like, you're not going anywhere. And he was just, like, so adamant. And then you came downstairs or inside the house. Like, you weren't there for it. But when you came in, you saw that it was, like, elevated and heated. And you just stepped in and like shoved him upstairs, and he didn't like fight. He didn't say you're not my dad, and he was upset. He was visibly upset, and he was very mad. You know, he probably punched a hole in the wall upstairs, like, you know, whatever. But and you had already been in his life for a long time, but I appreciated that part because that's why it's important to have the mom and dad in the home, because then it would have been me cracking him upside his head with something, or you know, like, because he was so adamant. But he was mad. He went upstairs, and that was just the end of it. And I didn't even have to get so worked up, and I didn't have to deal with that on that level. So he's always, even to me, sometimes I feel like he picks your side over my side. You know, I'm like, okay, it's a guy thing or whatever. But no, y'all have always had that relationship,
Respect.
and I'm just, I'm grateful for it because it doesn't have to be like that. There's so many relationships where it's just crazy,
battle.
you know, and then the stepfather's just at a loss, and he just doesn't say anything, or the biological dad thinks that he can just, you know, do whatever, say whatever, But I'm glad that God is good. That's what I'm saying. God is good on that, because it is funny because like when I had Jay, first I didn't really see myself having more kids because he was 12, like young when we did have our kid, but I didn't see myself having any more kids. And then if I did, I wanted someone that didn't have kids. And so then God answered my prayers. I met you, and then bam, we had 2 kids back to back, boys. So. Yeah, but I just said that to say that the dynamic of you as the head of the house for the boys, for Jalen, for Mason and Messiah, is powerful, just to see the interactions and to see the lessons and to see the love, the affection, the discipline, you know, and allowing me sometimes to kind of step out of it. It's good. So I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So as we wrap up, is there any last things you want to say or anything?
First off, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Keep doing your thing. Keep stepping up. Keep showing up. And it's important. It's very important to have a male figure, a right male figure, in the household. There's a big movement to tear down our young boys and turn them into things that God didn't make them naturally to be. And so a lot of that's coming from the broken households, right? A lot of these kids are being raised by women, you know what I'm saying, and they're feminine, and they're not getting a right, you know, kids are sponges when they grow up, so they attach to a lot of what they see and what they feel, the emotions that's in the air, the energy that's in the air. And so if you are a father, if you are a dad, make sure you stay present, do everything in your power to raise your kids. And if you need help, you know, because nobody said that you know, anybody is perfect. Sometimes a lot of guys is out of it because they got a loss. They feel like they don't know, you know, they didn't have a dad. They didn't have any examples of a dad or in their life, so they don't know how to do this. So if you need help, reach out. You know, there's plenty of people that would love to, you know, talk, to mentor you, to lead you and be there for you and your kids. So just don't be absent. The best thing you can do is just don't be absent. Be there and take care of what you
fight for it. Yeah, fight for it. So no, that's good. That's good advice. I appreciate that too. And so before I end the episode, there's 2 things that I do. Okay, the first one is I have what is called the mindset declaration, aka affirmation. Okay, and so the declaration that I have for today is for you. Okay, so it says, "I am grateful for the King before me. He is a servant of God and loves his family wholeheartedly."
Amen.
So you guys can repeat that, write that down. Y'all know we have a big journal full of affirmations, so you could text this to your man, that has your kids, and just let him know how you feel. And then the last segment that I just added is, what would I tell my younger self? I would tell my younger self, be careful who you have kids with. Be careful who you let shoot up the club. No, for sure. I think, you know, really getting to know a person and their family it looks all good and everything, and then you meet their family and there's some major red flags or whatever, and I know you're not having a baby with the family, but it becomes your family. It becomes your family. So that's what I would tell my younger self is just know who you land. And anytime that you lay down with somebody, it's a possibility that you can have a baby by them.
Right.
So just know that. So before we end, I want you to like and subscribe to the show. If you found some value, like it, share it with a friend, share it with a dad, and let me know in the comments what is one of your fondest memories with your dad or your husband or your boyfriend or whatever. Because I just want to hear from you. I like to hear some feedback on the show, any topics that you want to hear about. I want you to be well, have an amazing, amazing week, and know that your past does not dictate your better future. Till next episode. Thank you. That was so good. You gotta come back. You're gonna come back.
I will.
Okay.
Let's do it.
That was good.